5, 6 shots, all one after the other, and stopped for about a second, and started all over again, another 4 or 5 shots. And kids were running all over the place.
Gunfire erupts near a Toronto high school just a day after students returned to class.
A teen shot and injured, another young person arrested, and an innocent bystander caught in the crossfire. Good evening. The violence unfolded just before the noon hour near York Memorial Collegiate.
A shootout, police say, between 2 groups of people. A woman nearby struck by one of the bullets. CTV's Allison Hurst joins us live from the scene near Keele and Rogers Road with the latest. Allison.
Michelle, police say there are 2 scenes, one on each side of the street, and while they believe the incident was targeted, they say a woman who was just driving by was caught in the crossfire. In an alleyway, a suspect wearing handcuffs stands and is escorted to a parked police cruiser as an officer carries a backpack steps away from the scene of a shooting.
Boom, 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 just like that. Then stopped the second, and then it started again, like the same. And you could see, you could hear that there were gunshots.
Police say 2 groups of 3 to 4 people were shooting at each other from opposite sides of the street near Keele and Donald Avenue outside York Memorial Collegiate Institute.
We see, I don't know if it's 2 boys cross the street and with a mask and the black shirts, and they look back all the time. I don't know if he's scared or something happened with that too.
Police say 2 people were shot, a 17-year-old who was with one of the groups and a woman in her 30s in this white Jeep driving by was caught in the crossfire.
Non-life-threatening as far as my last update. However, she isn't undergoing medical treatment at an area trauma center as we speak.
Police say the teen's condition is also non-life-threatening. This man was delivering something to the school at the time.
Right beside that sidewalk, I saw mags. Then I was pretty sure that it's a shooting. And then I saw that Jeep is beside there. It's a pool of blood.
The gunfire erupted just before noon in a busy area of the city.
An unfortunate incident that, this sort of nonsense is taking place broad daylight across from a school where, it's very heavy traffic. This is the main artery.
According to the TDSB, 3 nearby schools were put into a hold and secure, and York Memorial was put into lockdown.
Scared every day. It's scared. I don't know what we're sending our kids to school to. It's scary. This has become the States. I just want to get my kid home right now.
Police did not confirm if anyone involved was from York Memorial, saying it's still too early in the investigation. Police say that they did recover a loaded magazine and a firearm, but they believe there is still one out there, and they are looking for anywhere from 6 to 8 people. Reporting live, I'm Allison Hurst. Nathan, back to you.
Thank you, Allison. Also tonight, a shocking surge in distraction thefts. The victims, violent tactics, and potential ties to organized crime. Toronto police issue a warning.
We turn to new details in the murder of a Vaughan father killed while trying to protect his children during a home invasion.
Police now investigating whether it was connected to another violent home invasion attempt the same night. This as calls to reform the justice system continue to grow. CTV Sean Leathong is live in Maple tonight, where a funeral is being held for the victim. Sean.
Nathan and Michelle, I'm at Beitul Islam Mosque, where Aleem Farouki will be laid to rest tonight. He was shot and killed inside his home early Sunday morning after York police say armed intruders entered through the back of his house. He confronted them, and he was shot and killed in front of his family. And now police are releasing evidence that there may have been a second crime. They haven't had enough to tie the 2 together, but another invasion attempted not far away.
It was 2:20 in the morning, Sunday, August 31st. 3 masked men walk up to this Kleinberg home, smashing the front door with the handle of a gun. The video released by York Regional Police this morning.
At the time of the incident, 2 adults and 2 children, aged 6 and 9, were within the residence. At least one of those suspects was armed with a firearm.
Yelling can be heard from inside, along with what appears to be a security alarm. The 3 masked men leave, this all happening just 90 minutes after another home invasion killed 46-year-old Aleem Farouki. The 2 homes are located just 1 kilometer apart.
While the 2 incidents have not been formally linked, investigators are reviewing the evidence for possible connections.
Farouki was shot and killed inside his Kleinberg home with his 4 children present just before 1 a.m.
3 cowards came in and changed everything for our family that night. And I urge that everyone reflect on that.
And as the suspects remain at large, the victim's brother stood alongside Vaughan's mayor calling for an increase in public safety.
I saw a school bus pull up yesterday in front of their house, and I thought, is my niece and nephew supposed to be on that school bus? They're devastated. They're worried.
Vaughan Mayor Stephen Del Duca said keeping communities safe means keeping repeat offenders in jail instead of getting bail.
These three specific animals, let's be clear about this, scumbags who have killed this incredibly important person and shattered this family. We don't know who these three are. But based on everything I've seen, there is a decent chance, perhaps more than a decent chance, that these are people who have a track record in criminal activity.
Something that York Regional Police Chief Jim McSween said as well.
I'm disappointed to report that in many of the violent incidents in our region, we are arresting repeat offenders over and over again.
The police chief saying that while overall crime is down, brazen acts like this one are on the rise.
York Regional Police had initially said that the home was targeted, and that had created backlash from the Faroqi family. They cleared that up today, saying that Aleem Faroqi was in no way involved in any criminality, but they believe that this home was targeted for something that was inside. As far as we know, the home invaders did not get what they came looking for. Reporting live, I'm Sean Leathong. Michelle, send it back to you.
Thank you, Sean. And there's been a tragic development in a house fire in Richmond Hill. An 11-year-old girl pulled from the home has died. The blaze now being investigated as an arson, and the young victim's death a homicide. CTV's Rahim Ladani joins us live with the latest details. Rahim.
Michelle, we learned today that the 11-year-old girl lost her life yesterday. She succumbed to the injuries which she sustained during this house fire here in Richmond Hill early Monday morning. 4 other members of her family are still in hospital right now. No one is in custody. York Regional Police are now investigating this house fire in Richmond Hill as a homicide after an 11-year-old girl succumbed to her injuries.
At this time, based on the evidence collected during the course of the investigation, the fire is believed to be an arson.
4 other members of her family are still fighting for their lives in hospital, all in critical condition. The 911 call came in on Monday just before 3 a.m. Firefighters found 4 of the victims unconscious inside the home. CTV News has confirmed that 70-year-old Mahmoud Bahari Kashari, a retired surgeon, and his 59-year-old wife Hale were home when the fire started, along with their 2 adult daughters and their 11-year-old granddaughter.
Yeah, I keep tracking the news almost every day. Yesterday it was so sad.
According to multiple neighbors, the 11-year-old girl and her mother recently moved in with their family and confirmed that police were called to the home earlier this summer for some type of incident. Police have not confirmed if there is any connection. Disheartened neighbors are starting a memorial in front of the burned house for the kind and quiet family.
It's neighborly and just been here for 20 years, so I just want to pay my respect.
Police have not released any information on potential suspects or established a motive for the arson. Across the street from the home, investigators did find a red gas can and backpack, which they say is suspicious.
The gas can that you're referring to was located approximately 100 meters from the house at a nearby school property. We'd be remiss not to believe, or at least not to exhaust everything around that area to see if it's connected to the scene.
The office of the fire marshal has not yet determined a cause of the fire. Fire investigators are still here on scene at this hour. This is the 3rd day that they've been in front of this home and inside the home as they try to determine the origin of the fire. Meanwhile, York Regional Police are appealing for any witnesses to come forward. Reporting live, I'm Rahim Ladani. Back to you in studio.
We have breaking news tonight. Emergency crews are on the scene of a house fire in Mississauga. This is a live look at the situation right now. It broke out on Gant Crescent near Britannia and Terry Fox Way late this afternoon. As you can see, firefighters are using ladders to battle the blaze from above. No word on any injuries or what may have sparked the fire.
Still ahead, the Honda Indy is hitting the road, rolling out of the city north to Markham after decades on the lakeshore. What's driving the move? Details and reaction in moments.
And we have more news in a moment, but first here's a look at the city right now and a We're going to talk about the forecast. If you've got plans tonight, we're in good shape weather-wise. It's one of those evenings that feels like midsummer. There is rain on the way, but that's expected overnight. Lindsay Morrison is here with a look at how things are right now. Hey, Lindsay.
Yeah, Nathan, a beautiful evening. Get outside and enjoy a little later on if you can. Go for a walk, go for a run, enjoy a barbecue perhaps. It is 27 degrees. It feels like 28. Earlier this afternoon, it felt more like 30. The humidity, less of a story now, but the temperature has gone up significantly in the last hour or so, thanks in part to these winds that are quite strong coming out of the south, gusting upwards of 40 kilometers per hour. Not much to show you around the GTA on the satellite and radar. We've got a mix of sun and cloud, but there's our weather maker for the overnight hours tonight and into tomorrow morning. Already getting some rain along the Huron shores and the Bruce Peninsula. You can plan on that being part of our weather story, not only for overnight tonight, but for your AM commute tomorrow. We'll detail how much rain is in the forecast and when it's all going to move out coming up. For now, Nathan, back to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. It's a Toronto summer tradition, but tonight the roar is moving away from the lakeshore.
Organizers of the Honda Indy announcing they are relocating to Markham. It's a major shift for fans of the sport. CTV's Natalie Johnson has more on the move and potential implications for both cities.
After 40 years of racing through Toronto, the roar by the lakeshore is no more, heading north toward a whole new finish line.
Markham, start your engines. The Indy race is coming to our city.
The mayor of Markham unveiling a 5-year deal to host the fan-favorite race on a temporary 12-turn, 3.5-kilometer track to be built between Kennedy Road, Enterprise Boulevard, Unionville GO Tracks, and Highway 407.
Markham is geared up and ready to embrace the spotlight.
Spotlight that will spur tens of millions of dollars in economic benefits, 140,000 visitors, 19,000 room nights, and 10,000 jobs.
The benefits are going to be like a tsunami, and they will keep coming every year and get stronger and stronger. And the economic impact that goes along with that is staggering.
Ontario's fastest party is on the move.
Toronto's mayor citing scheduling challenges as the reason for the detour, with the FIFA World Cup taking over Toronto next summer. Olivia Chow, though, optimistic that the Indy won't be gone for good.
Look at the numbers. How many people would actually show up, Markham? Look at just the 65 festivals that we have every year. The number of tourists. Tourists come to Toronto. They love the waterfront. They love the lakeshore.
A lakeshore that for the first time in 40 years won't be revved up next summer as Markham moves into pole position and buckles up. Natalie Johnson, CTV News.
And a driver.
A 12-year-old boy has been charged with attempted murder in connection with a shooting in Markham. It happened shortly before 5:30 p.m. on August 14th near McCowan and 14th Avenue. A man was taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Yesterday, a 12-year-old boy was arrested in connection with the shooting. In addition to attempted murder, the boy is facing several other gun and theft-related charges. Investigators say he was also on release orders for unrelated violent offenses.
And a man is in hospital after a shooting in Mississauga early this morning. It happened near Southdown Road and Royal Windsor Drive around 4:10. Peel police say the man was found suffering from gunshot wounds. The suspects fled the area in a white SUV with multiple occupants.
It is a heartless crime, often preying on the most vulnerable.
Toronto police are warning about an alarming rise in distraction thefts. Nearly 375 incidents have been reported so far this year, compared to just 28 during the same time last year. CTV's Beth McDonnell reports.
Distraction thefts, Toronto police say, often play out in commercial parking lots like this one. Here, a female suspect in the black SUV speaks to the victim asking for directions. She goes on to say it's her birthday and because of her custom, she should give a gift. The victim then goes over to the other side of the SUV and is given a ring and is hugged. Only after the SUV drives off does the victim realize their necklace is gone.
These suspects typically work in pairs, sometimes even involving children.
Reports of distraction thefts are surging, 374 already this year compared to the same period last year. Officers believe many of them go unreported. Thefts can also unfold at a victim's property. This time, someone on the passenger side of the vehicle asks the victim for directions to the nearest mosque and to pray for their sick mother. The suspect then begins putting rings and necklaces on the victim before trying to take the victim's watch and necklace. There's a struggle, and the vehicle ends up dragging the victim down the street.
Suspects often remain in vehicles, which makes identification difficult. The victims, primarily elderly, are often left in shock, limiting their ability to provide accurate descriptions.
Police say distraction thefts typically target people 60 to 90 years of age who are alone, wearing jewelry from mid-morning to mid-afternoon. Tactics include asking for directions, pretending to need help, starting an argument or scene, spilling something on the victim, offering to sell or gift jewelry, and asking the victim to pray with them. Police are troubled by the increasing level of violence by suspects, which are believed to be linked to organized crime. To stop thieves, officers in the east and west have launched a coordinated effort with targeted investigations and are increasing patrols in commercial, residential, and high-traffic areas. Tips to protect yourself include making sure bags are zipped, not to leave them on tables or the backs of chairs, and keep a distance. If someone is close enough to put a necklace around your neck, they're too close. Beth McDonnell, CTV News.
There's breaking news from Lisbon, where 15 people were killed when an electric streetcar derailed. 18 others were injured in the accident involving the tourist attraction. The streetcar goes up and down a downtown hill in tandem, with one going the opposite way. The Portuguese government said an investigation would begin once the rescue operation was over. A day of national mourning will be observed tomorrow.
Here at home, the Prime Minister and his cabinet were in Toronto today for the start of a two-day retreat.
Mark Carney's inner circle is laying out his priorities leading up to the opening of Parliament. CTV's Judy Trin has details on the tough choices to be made with the economy front and center.
Ahead of his cabinet planning forum, the Prime Minister disclosed a top-level conversation.
I last spoke to the President Monday evening. We spoke at length on a wide range of issues, including on trade, but geopolitical other issues.
Over the next 2 days, members of cabinet will get more details about what Mark Carney learned in his unscheduled conversation with Donald Trump. The U.S. needs to start public consultations on the Canada-U.S.-Mexico trade agreement in the next few weeks.
The focus of the government from the start has been on what we can control.
The cabinet agenda includes deciding which major national projects, from ports to pipelines, to put on the fast track. Ministers will also discuss the rollout of Carney's Build Canada Homes initiative and how to build affordable homes on federal land. The finance minister has yet to map out the costs.
It's going to be an ambitious budget, but at the same time with a fiscal discipline, you know.
This budget is about fairness for every generation.
The Liberal government has not passed a budget since April 2024. A budget is expected to be tabled in October. There will likely be public sector cuts in order to pay for investments.
The federal government has been growing spending as a whole at over 7% a year on average for over a decade. That's twice the rate of growth of the economy on average. It's not a sustainable situation. So we need to rein in spending. We need to find efficiencies.
Carney's cabinet also heard from polling experts who told them that the trade war was no longer a top priority for Canadians. Instead, fighting inflation, building homes, and job creation ranked ahead of Trump and his tariffs. Judy Trin, CTV News, Toronto.
Pierre Poilievre called on the federal government to end the temporary foreign worker program. The Conservative leader is proposing that permits wind down until the program ceases to exist, and says those largely low-paying jobs can be filled by Canadians. But as CTV's Rachel Aiello reports, it may not be that simple.
Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre wants to abolish Canada's temporary foreign worker program
and to stop issuing visas for any new temporary foreign workers coming into the country.
Prime Minister Mark Carney said today Cabinet is discussing how the program is working, but asserted it'll continue to play a part in Canada's immigration system.
When I talk to businesses around the country, particularly in Quebec, but elsewhere across the country, Their number one issue is tariffs, and their number two issue is access to temporary foreign workers.
Poilievre's plan includes a carve-out for agricultural labor and an up to 5-year transition period for regions with ultra-low unemployment.
The turnover is insanely high. It's really hard to fill those labor needs domestically.
This 8th-generation farmer said the suggestion has tilled up a lot of concern in his community.
I don't know how you do away with a temporary foreign worker program in totality without potentially harming the agriculture streams.
Migrants' rights advocates say what Poilievre is proposing wouldn't come close to solving this country's employment challenges and accused him of leveraging division over immigration to get back in the national conversation.
Temporary foreign workers are in agriculture, they're chefs, they're in fishery workers. These are not summer youth jobs, right? So linking the two is as bizarre as sort of linking, the wages in Ontario with the weather in Saskatchewan.
The Federal Immigration Department said today that fewer new temporary workers entered Canada in the first half of this year compared to 2024, and continued reductions are planned. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Ottawa.
The Assembly of First Nations began its General Assembly in Winnipeg today.
If we don't mobilize to protect our rights, no one else will. We have fought in Parliament, we have fought in the courts, and we have fought on this land to protect our rights as people and as nations. Nothing has been given to us, and we are not going back.
Much of the focus of the 3-day assembly is due to be the federal government's Bill C-5. It lets Ottawa fast-track major projects it deems to be in the national interest. But today, one of the Grand Chiefs said progress cannot come at the cost of their rights, treaties, or responsibilities to the land. Delegates will also discuss advancing First Nations policing and harm reduction strategies on substance abuse, among other topics.
China hosted the leaders of North Korea and Russia during a military parade in Beijing. The parade commemorated the 80th anniversary of the end of the Second World War. It comes at a time when China is seeking to wield greater influence on the international stage and portray itself as an alternative to the U.S.-dominated post-war era. There's also diplomatic strategy. Observers say the Chinese leader needs cheap Russian energy and a stable border with North Korea. Russian President Vladimir Putin is hoping to escape Western sanctions and isolation over his war in Ukraine. And North Korean leader Kim Jong-un wants money, legitimacy, and to one-up rival South Korea.
The latest episode at one of the world's most active volcanoes continued today. Streams of lava flowing from the Kilauea volcano in Hawaii, but it has been contained within the summit crater and hasn't threatened homes or buildings. The volcano has been erupting about once a week since late last year, and yesterday had its 32nd episode since December. Scientists believe they are all part of the same eruption because magma has been following the same pathway to the surface. Kilauea is located on Hawaii's main island, about 200 kilometers south of Honolulu.
A thrilling new world record has been set in the mountains of Switzerland. Australian athlete Peter Salzman broke the world speed record for a base jump in a wingsuit. He jumped from over 3,700 meters above sea level and reached a top speed of 347 kilometers per hour. A tracker was built into his suit to measure data. An especially designed helmet was made to cut through the air and reach the record-breaking speed.
Wow. Coming up, TIFF through his lens. No one captures Toronto's film festival quite like George Pimentel. We catch up with the celebrity photographer on the eve of this year's 50th edition and put him in focus.
And I'm Pat Foran. Coming up on Consumer Alert, no one wants to get into an accident, but what happens if someone crashes into you and then takes off? A woman involved in a hit and run was shocked to find out she has to pay to replace her car. All of that story, that's just ahead.
So it is going to be a bit of a soggy start to the day tomorrow, and then this cold front is going to live up to its name and cool us down for tomorrow. But good news for the kickoff of the Toronto International Film Festival. Looks like conditions are going to dry out for the second half of the day, and that's good news for red carpets. Stay with us. We will take a look at your 7-day forecast coming up, and we've got another full night of great shows for you right here on CTV.
Most of us try to drive carefully to avoid accidents, but of course someone could crash into you through no fault of your own.
And in the case of a hit-and-run accident, you could be responsible for damage to your car, even if you didn't do anything wrong. Here's Pat Foran and Consumer Alert. Pat.
Thanks, Michelle and Nathan. A woman was driving home doing the speed limit when a pickup truck crashed into her and totaled her car. The driver of the truck refused to stay at the scene. Now she has to pay to replace her car, even though she wasn't at fault.
My car is completely written off. It's completely totaled.
Micaiah Donaldson, a 20-year-old university student from Brampton, says she feels lucky to be alive after being involved in a hit-and-run accident. She was driving home at night in June from a friend's house when a speeding pickup truck slammed into her.
I was going probably 30 and he was probably going 100, so it was a really bad hit because he was going really fast.
The police were called and Donaldson was taken to hospital with injuries. She was unable to identify the driver of the truck that smashed into her.
They said that because I did not get his license plate number, but there was no opportunity for me to get that because as soon as he hit me, the person did not stop.
Donaldson was driving a 2008 Nissan Versa worth about $6,500. Her insurance company agreed she was not at fault. But since the at-fault driver fled the scene and Donaldson was told she didn't have collision insurance, she was not covered for the hit and run.
Now my responsibility to pay tow truck people to find a new car.
Her insurance company is Bel Air Direct. A spokesperson said in the event of an accident, if a customer has opted out of collision, coverage would reflect the terms of the policy. While we do review all options of coverages, ultimately, it's the customer's decision.
Because the other driver was unidentified, no fault doesn't apply.
The Insurance Bureau of Canada says in a hit-and-run accident, collision coverage is needed to repair or replace your vehicle.
The insurance company can't pay to repair the damage to their car because there's no coverage to draw from.
Donaldson feels little effort was made to find the hit-and-run driver and feels she should be compensated.
It's just very, very frustrating. People just have to live with the fact that they don't get compensation when they are not in the wrong.
And drivers trying to save money on their premiums may drop collision coverage, but cases like this can happen. It's also illegal to leave the scene of an accident. A driver can face fines, a license suspension, and possible jail time. On your side, I'm Pat Foran.
If you have a consumer story idea, email us at alert@ctv.ca.
Well, it's midweek, and it is a beautiful September evening. The sunshine, the temperatures, and it's hard to believe when you look at the skyline that we do have some wet weather on the way.
And right, but at least it won't be a washout tomorrow, the first day of TIFF, and it's a nice reminder that we're still in summer.
Yes, so I love all of the above. Yeah, summer day today felt like 30 at the height of the afternoon, and you're right, it's not a washout for tomorrow, but we are in for a decent amount of rain. It looks to begin overnight tonight. It looks to certainly impact the morning commute tomorrow, but by about this time, we'll be drier. The sun should be back out. It is going to be a little cooler, though. Let's talk about earlier today. Nice day to spend some time by the water. I am convinced that we have more days like this ahead in September, but as we head into the Burr months, you start to wonder how many more days like this do we have. So great job by everyone who got outside to enjoy, and there's still a little bit of time before the sun sets tonight. Sunset time, 7:48 p.m. We do have rain on the way. It's already impacting parts of southern Ontario. Again, this is still several hours away from us here in the GTA. And this big upper low, as it spins, is actually potentially going to bring some snowflakes to parts of northern Ontario. We don't have to worry about that here, and anyone living there doesn't have to worry about it accumulating, but a few first flakes possible. The cold front brings us rain, it cools us down, and it sets us up for a pretty windy day on Friday. So we'll get to that. How much rain? Looks like anywhere from 10 to 20 millimeters of it, but it's all going to be finished by the time we reach tomorrow afternoon. soon. There's the midnight hour. We've seen an increase in cloud cover, showers beginning in many areas, and then it's periods of rain, maybe heavy at times, into tomorrow a.m. That's about 7 o'clock. 7, 8, 9, plan on wet roads, perhaps some reduced visibility, so take care for all those kids, maybe walking to school or hopping on a school bus. There's about 2 p.m., so the rain looks to be finished. Cloud cover is going to start to break up, and by 6 p.m. tomorrow, we're back into sunshine, but again, noticeably cooler. Friday, gusty winds, maybe up to 70 kilometers per hour. Chance of a shower. Those winds are going to drive up our temperature once again, but by the weekend, we are a little bit cooler. It is 26 degrees right now, and what you see is what you get as far as the humidity is concerned. There's your evening at a glance. Lovely. 24 degrees by about 8 p.m. That sun setting just before. So, yeah, we're going to switch to a nighttime icon now for the evening at a glance. Tonight's low, 16 degrees. That's not so low. That's above seasonal. And then tomorrow's highs, yeah, the high temperature, believe it or not, could happen in the morning hours for many areas. And then the temperature falls as the day goes on. But we're talking teens just about everywhere, and our upper air pattern gives us clues to the fact that this cooler weather is going to be with us into the weekend. So again, Friday, a little bit of a bump back up around 24 degrees, maybe 21 on Saturday, 18 though for Sunday, 19 for Monday, chance of showers on Sunday, but overall a decent looking weekend forecast. Nathan, I'll send it over to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Also tonight, better testing for better outcomes. A common blood thinner used in major surgeries can have life-threatening complications for some, but now researchers have found a new way to diagnose.
Scientists at McMaster University are celebrating what they're calling a potentially groundbreaking discovery.
They hope it'll lead to less complications associated with a common blood thinner. We get more from our health reporter, Pauline Chan.
Heparin is a blood thinner used during all kinds of major surgeries, such as cardiac or hip surgery.
The disorder we're working on is called the heparin-induced thrombocytopenia, or HIT. It's one of the most high-stakes complications that doctors face when treating patients with heparin. Although heparin-induced thrombocytopenia is rare overall, it isn't uncommon in hospitals because the number of patients that actually receive it. So doctors see often enough that they always have to be on alert.
In addition, there is a danger in misdiagnosis.
The challenge with this is that if the diagnosis is missed, patients can develop life-threatening clots. So while you're giving heparin as a blood thinner to prevent clots, it actually causes the clotting. On the other hand, if you misdiagnose the patients, you stop the use of heparin unnecessarily and switch to other blood thinners.
And those alternatives may increase the risk of bleeding during surgery.
Heparin-induced thrombocytopenia causes strokes, heart attacks, various different types of clots, leading to potentially amputation and even death.
In those few cases, clots form as part of an immune response to the heparin. And Professor Isaac Nazi says the body produces scores of different antibodies.
And the misconception was you produce many forms of these antibodies against it. However, what we discovered, and the reason we were able to make this discovery now, is because we have way more sensitive tools. So what we discovered is there's actually one single antibody, which we normally call a monoclonal antibody, that causes the disease. So this is a fundamental shift in our understanding of the disease. It means now we can design tests that can focus on the true culprit, making the diagnosis faster and more reliable.
And Nazi hopes the development of a Canadian test will provide medical benefits for patients around the world, as well as economic benefits here at home. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
Across the country, Canadians are getting ready for the 45th annual Terry Fox Run in just over a week and a half on Sunday, September 14th. The run celebrates the anniversary of the Marathon of Hope, when Terry Fox decided to run across Canada to raise money for cancer research in 1980. He ran more than 5,300 kilometers before he was forced to stop near Thunder Bay after his cancer had spread. Terry Fox's niece, Kirsten, and 11-year-old cancer survivor Leah March stopped by CP24 breakfast this morning.
It's really nice because, like, at our school, we had a run on, like, every year. Mm-hmm. And, like, we just, like, in our, like, beside our school, we have this, like, walk area that we run, like as many laps that we can for the time. Yeah. And, like, I do a speech, like, at the gym and stuff, and, like, I talk about it every single year.
Leah is a living example that the cancer research is working, which is exactly what Uncle Terry wanted, right? That was his whole mission when he started the Marathon of Hope, was to fundraise for cancer research, and that's what we're still doing today. And, you know, the money is going to the best and brightest researchers in Canada, and Leah is living proof.
The annual Terry Fox Run has raised over $900 million for cancer research.
It's the highlight of the year for Hollywood North. The 50th edition of the Toronto International Film Festival kicks off tomorrow.
It's all about the movies and the stars who will attend. And one man who will get closest to the celebrities than anyone else is a local photographer. CTV's Andrea Case has the story.
In the world of motion pictures, George Pimentel is the king of the still picture.
This is my first photo. And this was shot with film, and you know, in the end, I kind of snuck on the carpet, and this was serendipity. I realized, you know, this is what I want to do.
That was 1993.
Back then, there were 5 photographers behind a velvet rope, and I didn't even have a badge, and a security guard went, he saw me with a nice camera, and he just assumed I was general media.
His father was a portrait photographer, but George caught the celebrity bug.
You know, I didn't want to be a paparazzi in the bushes. I just wanted to capture them in their element.
It took a few years, and then it was official.
But then I got my first badge, and it changed everything, and it was in a good way. I didn't have to wait for 7 hours for Quentin Tarantino.
There's access, and then there's access. He literally is on the red carpet, and it's what gives him these unforgettable shots.
I remember Angelina Jolie popping up with Brad Pitt. It was a big deal for them to show up as a couple, and she gave me the over-the-shoulder.
Over the thousands of pictures, it can be easy to forget what you have in your archives, like this of the late Gene Hackman and his wife.
I remembered what his dog's name was, so I hollered, the name of the dog, and he gave me a big smile.
The one and only George Pimentel's photography exhibit is available at 600 King Street West during the entire time of the festival. 50 of his best photos over 32 years of a career. Andrea Case.
Over the shoulder.
CTV News.
Oh, yeah. He's going to be busy over the next 10 days. To other news now, Radiohead is reuniting after 7 years. But I'm a creep. The band will do 20 shows in 5 cities across Europe in November and December. The members decided to go back on the road after getting together to play some songs last year. Radiohead last performed in 2018 in support of their last album.
After the break, angry real estate brokers demand a refund, while they're blaming the Real Estate Council of Ontario for what they believe is a multi-million-dollar mistake.
Scared every day. It's scared. I don't know what we're sending our kids to school to.
Updating our top stories, a 17-year-old boy was shot today during an exchange of gunfire between 2 groups near York Memorial Collegiate Institute. A woman in her 30s driving past at the time was caught in the crossfire. Both sustained non-life-threatening injuries. It's unclear if anyone involved was from York Memorial.
Markham, start your engines. The Indy race is coming to our city.
The Grand Prix of Toronto is moving. Starting in 2026, the Ontario Honda dealers Indy will take place in Markham for at least 5 years. Scheduling challenges related to next year's World Cup games in Toronto was a factor in the move. So were development plans at Exhibition Place. But Toronto's mayor is optimistic the Indy will return.
Suspects often remain in vehicles, which makes identification difficult. Victims, primarily elderly, are often left in shock, limiting their ability to provide accurate descriptions.
Police are warning about a surge in distraction thefts. There have been 374 so far this year, compared to just 28 during the same time last year. Tactics include asking for directions or pretending to need help.
Remember to keep up to date day and night at ctvnewstoronto.ca and by downloading the CTV News app.
A major Canadian player in convenience stores has reported earnings. BNN Bloomberg's Morella Fernandez has tonight's business report.
Alimentation Couche-Tard reported earnings with revenue down year over year. The company's based in Quebec but owns convenience stores around the world. It brought in more than $17 billion in its latest quarter. That's a 5% drop from last year. Still, investors weren't fazed, pushing the stock up nearly 8% at one point today. WestJet is spending $10 billion U.S. to buy another 67 jets from Boeing. The airline is purchasing 60 737 MAX 10s and 10 Dreamliners. Shares of Alphabet are up today, getting a boost from a U.S. court ruling. Some had feared the judge overseeing the antitrust case would order the parent of Google to sell its Chrome browser. He didn't, and that drove the stock up. Here's a look at how the trading day ended. The Canadian dollar down slightly today to 72.48. West Texas Intermediate dropped $1.67 to 63.92. Western Canadian Select is up more than $2 to 53.23. And the TSX is up again, gaining 135 points to another record close. Those are your business headlines. I'm Morella Fernandez.
The Business Report is brought to you by Canadian Western Bank, the bank built for business.
The turmoil at the Real Estate Council of Ontario has attracted the attention of the OPP. As CTV's John Woodward reports, it has to do with $10 million that went missing from a trust account, and many realtors are outraged.
Waving signs like "Protect Realtors, not wrongdoers," these people gathered on the steps of the Real Estate Council of Ontario on Tuesday.
This is stressful. Everyone is anxious.
Many of them former brokers for iPro Realty, which collapsed earlier this year.
We have bills to pay. We also have responsibility for our families.
They're angry because they say RICO bungled a probe into how some $10 million disappeared from the trust account of iPro Realty back in May. That trust account still used for hundreds of millions of dollars in transactions before it was frozen in August. Frozen with these realtors and their customers' money still inside.
Our buyers and sellers, their deposits are stuck. And this is something, it's not only about money, it's about serious breach of trust.
One principal of iPro Realty used to be on the board of RICO. 9 realtor organizations wrote a letter Wednesday saying the case is part of a pattern and needs to be addressed by putting RICO under the oversight of the province's ombudsman.
It's shameful, actually. It's something that should just never, ever happen in this industry.
RICO has parted ways with its registrar and hired a law firm to do a review. On Friday, Ontario Minister Stephen Crawford threatened to intervene and told RICO to cooperate with law enforcement. On Wednesday, the Ontario Provincial Police confirmed to CTV News they're investigating what happened. NDP critic Tom Rakocevic says there needs to be more oversight of RICO itself.
This has to change. It's unacceptable. It destroys trust.
The realtors didn't get to meet with RICO. Building security stopped them from entering.
Why?
It's private property. It's going to cause a disturbance.
Oh.
We want to sit down with somebody and come to a resolution.
These realtors agree. They say RICO should get its own house in order. John Woodward, CTV News.
Turning to sports, the Toronto Blue Jays are finishing up their series in Cincinnati tonight, looking to win the 3-game set.
The 5 American League hitters. Get out of here, ball. Get out of here.
Towering fly ball to left center, and can you believe it?
George Springer had 2 home runs and 3 RBIs to lead Toronto to a 12-9 win last night. Shane Bieber gets the start for the Jays this evening. They are 2.5 games ahead of New York and Boston in the American League East.
Meanwhile, Montreal's Felix Auger-Aliassime has advanced to the semifinals at the U.S. Open. The 25th seed defeated Alex de Minaur this afternoon. Auger-Aliassime is moving on to the Final Four at Flushing Meadows for the second time in his career after a 2021 appearance.
Just ahead, honoring fallen first responders. Cyclists ride from Hamilton to Ottawa to recognize co-workers who lost their lives in the line of duty and raise money for their families.
Tonight, the high-level conversation.
I last spoke to the president Monday evening.
What Mark Carney confirmed about his spontaneous chat with Donald Trump and the priorities outlined at a critical cabinet meeting. Later on CTV National News.
Finally tonight, going the distance to remember lives lost in the line of duty.
Dozens of cyclists are traveling across the province to honor fallen first responders. And today, CTV's Jessica Smith caught up with them as they stopped in Toronto.
70 cyclists are tackling the 550-kilometer stretch between Hamilton and Ottawa to recognize their fellow fallen first responders.
Well, you know, it's so incredible to see how it is built and how they've managed to build this ride.
Firefighters from Ontario, Alberta, and Newfoundland, representing 18 different departments, took off from Hamilton this morning. The ride raising funds for the Canadian Fallen Firefighters Foundation.
There's 140 names going on the wall this year,
118 families are visiting Ottawa for the memorial, so we're doing it for them.
Now in its 9th year, the ride continues to grow as the foundation recognizes those who have made the ultimate sacrifice and support their families.
Every time I have this conversation and I say Sean's name, it's a little bit heart-wrenching. So it's good and it's bad. But you know what? I have a lot of special memories.
We do scholarships and bursaries for children of the fallen firefighters and for widows of the firefighters if they need reintegration into the workplace. We also have a funeral bursary.
The riders say the support along the way has been incredible.
It's pretty cool. Like the amount of people that are standing along the road and waving and clapping, I'm amazed that either people know about it and are there to cheer us on, or they don't know about it and they're just cheering anyways.
Every kilometer honoring those we've lost and supporting those who continue to protect the community. The next stop on the ride is Cobourg, then Kingston, and it all culminates with a special ceremony in Ottawa on Sunday morning. For more information, you can visit CelticFireRide.ca. Jessica Smith, CTV News.
Great conditions for a ride. Great conditions tonight.
So tonight's okay. Tomorrow's where we have to kind of be wary.
Yeah, so a bit of a challenge for cyclists, especially tomorrow morning. Some rain, heavy at times, is going to move in. It will impact your morning commute if you're a driver or a pedestrian or a cyclist. Here's one more look at the satellite and radar. It's on its way. We should be fine for this evening, but overnight the showers begin. And then tomorrow morning is a bit of a different story from tomorrow afternoon. Both parts of the day are going to be a little bit cool. Our forecast daytime high is 19, but we do return to some sun for the second half of your Thursday. And then there's an early look at your weekend forecast. Not bad at all. Nathan and Michelle.
Thank you, Lindsay. That's it for us, but be sure to join Omar Sachedina tonight at 11 for CTV National News, followed by Zoraida Allman with our next local newscast at 11:30.
In the meantime, our coverage continues anytime on CP24 and at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay Morrison and the whole team here at CTV News, thanks for watching and have a great night.